Roll call.
Chairperson, or Trustee Brewer, sorry.
Finally.
Trustee McCarthy. Here. Trustee Damasco. Here. Trustee Douglas. Here. Trustee Stratton.
Here.
I meant to say Chairperson Brewer. So sorry.
That's all good. Whatever the afternoon's going. All right. Let's go ahead and jump into approval of the minutes from our regular meeting of December 15th, 5. We previously in the packets. Questions? Changes? Discussion? Now with the motion.
Take the motion. December 15th.
Second. We have first and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Thank you. Go ahead and move on to our communication section. Start with our record school.
Just a couple of the quick agenda today. The weather now, obviously, the last few days. Just wanted to thank our staff. Melissa puts in a lot of extra hours checking routes along with Sharon, other road supervisors, the maintenance guys, and the operators. We also, everybody did a good job. We had one accident Saturday or something. Nothing serious. Everybody did what they could, and then we also sent a bus to a fire pretty close to the fire. So it's good to be able to do those things. It asks, sometimes we can't, but we were able to do it this time. So that was good. We have some workforce training that's still ongoing, workplace essentials training for leadership. This will be our 4th training of 5 this month. That we've had some interest in, so we're expanding that to different staff after this. So that's through Lincoln Land, and it's been an experience so far. So that's been good. We're also looking at trying to set up some mental health training for frontline employees again. Or not again. Been working on it for a while, so we're working on setting it up. Probably in conjunction with some safety. We talked about that this morning. That's on the horizon. And then just real quick, so you all know, our holidays that are coming up. Lincoln's birthday on the 12th. President's Day on the 17th. Our service holidays for us. So the service is running, but our admin offices. So in case anyone asks, offices will be closed, but buses are still. That's all right.
Very good. Follow up for Steve? No? So, yes, everybody's been a lot of excellent, so we appreciate that. Trustees. Let's move along to some general comments from Finance Administration. Chuck?
Yes. Good evening. For operating at departments, and we have candidates with the start date. Finance department has been working during tax reporting. I should say finance and operations. We had to learn how to. That was so we thought we had a good handle on that. Watched the lesson, webinars on that.
Okay. Questions? Okay. As always, got the full staff hope to do more for you. How about operations? Melissa?
We have quite a bit going on. Something I'll talk about later on our agenda item. But ridership report, the fixed route ridership report, I'd like to notate some corrections. Next board meeting, Steve pointed out to me question about 7 ridership totals. They're a little lower than what we had in October, so I need to check some of the SQL jobs on the back side of our reporting function. Get there and make sure that our trips we met. So I'll look into those November and December ridership numbers. All the other routes look okay, but might be some. Then we'll talk more about it. Saving the best for later.
People,
Yep. Well, no, it's cold, but we're used to this. Yeah.
It's probably compressed air. It's not something that so cold.
Parking brakes. Trade them out, get them a warmer bus. Get that one warmed up and rotate them out. Wouldn't think so, but gets that cold, the parking brakes.
One for me.
Can't put it in drive.
Okay,
Yeah.
that we got professionals on the case, so we're not. Okay. Let's go over to the report sections if we could. First item there is the approval of the November 25 financial statements and cash disbursements.
I make a motion to approve the November 2025 financial statement and cash disbursement. Second.
Second.
Aye.
Opposed? Do we have approval? Some committee reports, anything finance committee today?
They're both not here. I just note that instead of having a meeting, I couple of things by them this last couple of weeks. Item on the agenda for the financial policy changes. So just let them know. Or is in front of it.
Appreciate that update. Anything from the operations committee?
Well, just again to say thank you. Great work.
The administration committee, anything today?
Not at this time.
IT steering, there.
We met, I think it was a productive meeting for, our relationship with the county and kind of making sure everybody's folks here are getting what they need, and that was it. Nothing.
Appreciate the update. Argus, thank you. Other items still. Planning commission report. Let's hear from Jason that it's not. They say so.
Jason did send it.
Okay. Good.
Just second quarter billing statements on also planning commission partners. Updates on plans and studies, our region, our vision. Next technical meeting is set for February 10th, where they'll be discussing scenarios for economic development, transportation enhancements in growth areas, Springfield Community Safety Action Plan. The next meeting, virtual meeting, February 9th. Stakeholder interviews are currently underway. Some plans to survey SMTD drivers of the city as part of that project. Also, work to start soon on the 2027 work program. SMTD will share will be the same as it has been the last several years through the IDOT's matching.
Okay, let's get into some new business with Sarah. First item up is server and storage. What's that for us?
Yes, so the server environment with physical and virtual servers needs to be updated. This is a multi-phase project. Phase 1, prepping the space, is done. And Sangamon County Information Systems, County IT, have been working very closely with us to make sure it will be right and all of the ancillary things that we have no idea about. So in this phase that we're working on now is procuring the hardware for the upgrade, which includes 2 servers, a storage array, and a complete rack setup. The estimate for the project came in below the simplified acquisition threshold for federal purchases, meaning the request for quotes would be sufficient. I sent that out and we got 5 quotes back. LRS IT Solutions was the lowest apparent quote at $8,300. I then sent those quotes over to Sangamon County Information Systems just to make sure that all of our specifications were exceeded. They confirmed that, and then determined the price was very reasonable based on the other quotes that we received and cost testing.
Pretty good.
I would point out that this is some of our equipment there has or is pretty soon not supported So it's been a long process trying to learn all this stuff from County IT, but they've been very helpful, and very good at pushing us on the. So it's a really important.
Further discussion here? I'll look for a motion.
Make a motion to authorize the next server and storage at the collection.
First and second, everybody in favor there?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Projects. With that, next item up under new business is update of control policy. Shall we handle that?
Yes, the last time this policy was presented before was just last year. After review the policy, requirements reviewed every year. This one was not a year. This request to change policies, the concept of the threshold to capitalize assets was 5,000. We're asking to change it to 10,000. So really, the changes this time because we and the 2 CFR Part 200, which is our guidance that we follow, basically set your internal policy more restricted or set it at 10,000. So we previously had it internally more restricted at 5,000, 10,000. The state threshold for micro purchases is 10,000. State federal threshold for micro is 15,000, so 15,000. I have consulted with our auditors. They have, and I wanted to note as well that we're making this change retroactive July 1st. So I'm not making. We don't have to make it more confusing. So the change that we're making tonight is to make it from 5,000 to 10,000, effective July 1 of 25.
Any questions here? It's pretty straightforward. Speaking of expenses.
Things are more expensive now, so it's getting a little bit more confusing to book certain things. You're like, well, how do we book that? Because we used to be only a few $100s, and now it's getting close to that threshold. So update the policy.
Okay, is there a motion?
I make a motion to adopt the SMTD financial policy for the next year as presented to the board of trustees on January 6, 2026.
Second. First and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Update. Next item up is the designation.
Yes, from time to time we change that who we have selected as the authorized agent. Previously we had Marcellette Wiggins, she's our payroll. She had been authorized agent since the summertime. Prior to that had been Stephanie, now we're moving back to our attorney. So that's what's presented to the board tonight to identify Stephanie Ridley as the authorized agent for IMER.
Questions for Michelle? For a motion?
I make a motion to appoint Stephanie.
Okay. Some second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed to this? Approval? Stephanie, more work. Good job. All right. Next item up is our review and update of our paratransit service rules.
There's a lot of information in the memo. I just wanted to give you guys a background on what we're seeing, what's currently happening with our transit service. To give you an idea, if you think back to 2012, that was a long time ago, when I first became superintendent in the paratransit department, ridership at that point was at 64,000 a week. We're, of course, way past that now. But at that point, we averaged about 200 passengers per day at their busiest. Beginning in FY23, post-COVID pandemic, ridership exceeded 87,000. Average is about 285 rides a day. Fast forwarding to fiscal year 26, we're projected to reach a 6-figure ridership total for the first time since 20 years that I've been Over the course of these fiscal years, we've added headcount to that department, been creative in structuring schedules. We've done just about everything we can to make sure that our demand is met for those riders. We do not have the ability to turn down care transit service for requests for rides with the ADA guidelines as well as FTA rules. What we are seeing to date with the increase in passengers and the ridership themselves, we currently schedule rides all the way up until the end of our service day, which is 11 p.m. That's dispatcher schedule for a ride. For the very next day, sometimes the first trip's going out in the morning at 6 a.m. Over the course of time, that has not been difficult to maintain and handle that demand after a 5 p.m. hour. Because typically by 5 p.m., we've looked at the next day needs, we've scheduled an extra operator in the morning if we have extra trips that don't fit on the runs that are currently out there, just to make sure we have enough drivers. After 5 p.m., we're seeing a significant number of trips scheduled in addition to what was already out there, and it kind of blows them out the water in the morning. So there's trips that have nowhere to go. They're trying to squeeze them on somebody who it might fit with. So that pushes trips further out, and now we are seeing a significant number of late trips. And passengers aren't getting to work on time, and doctor's appointments late, and that's simply because the demand that wasn't able to be planned for after 5 p.m. has swamped what was out there. The Americans with Disabilities Act does provide that an entity can establish reservation schedules in between administrative business hours only and not service hours for the whole day. So what we are looking at and working with the advisory council with the APA passengers are placing a reservation schedule between the administrative hours only, 8 to 4:30 p.m. And at that point, the next day rides cannot be scheduled after 4:30 p.m. Once 4:30 hits, we can plan for the next day's service, and then scheduling is done for the next day. A lot of transit agencies that way. We've been fortunate to where we've been able to last this long, doing scheduling wide open whenever we're services in dispatches in the office, basically. But unfortunately, we're reaching a point to where that practice has started to affect our on-time performance, which is something that FTA regulates for us. We look for our on-time performance to be no less than set 97% on a consistent basis. We've added headcounts to that department. We're at 30 operators in the paratransit department right now, where with the graphs that you have, just in FY22 they had 23. So over the past 4 years, we've added 7 operators, and we're still seeing underperforming on-time performance. So at this point, I think we've done what we can. Start looking at service rules with reservation scheduling. We are working with the ADA Advisory Committee. We're looking for input from the Great Lakes ADA Center, as well as we're going to be doing some surveys of the current ridership on what can we do to lessen the negative impact for some individuals for that. It is going to be a behavior change. We're going to have to set an alarm. I got to call in the morning instead of late in the evening. But our EchoLane mobile app for that department, they can get on to their app and schedule rides from home without needing assistance for a reservation agent. That app currently will let you schedule a trip up to 16 hours out. So by 4:30 p.m., when the call center would shut down, 4:30 p.m. on your mobile app, I could still schedule a ride for the next day after 8:39 a.m., which is the critical point. Between 6 a.m. and 9 a.m. is when that on-time performance lags really bad. So we still think those folks who choose to utilize the app may not feel such a drastic change as some others, and we will try to promote the app to more people. But we are asking the board to, approve us moving forward with this plan, to help, impact the whole, because a lot of, passengers are, kind of done it. They're buying, we need their help and they're buying it.
Some structural changes.
Yeah.
Relative, it's necessary, it's logical, and everybody's doing it. So, okay. Definitely appreciate your commentary. Is anybody?
When did you say this goes into effect?
It's gonna be at least 30 days, so I'm shooting to see the change, and increase that on-time performance and get everybody to work on time. I'd like to go for a March 1st date, but I'm gonna try to get some feedback from passengers, the Great Lakes Center, see if there's, the ADA committee, see if any suggestions they have. And then plus we're gonna put some notification on our IVR with our phone systems. I'm working with the county on that. So it's gonna take some time. It may not be March 1st. That's what I'd like to see. Just so I can get that, morning trips and runs alleviated. It's stressful on the drivers too. If you're coming into work and you're already late, dark, it's tough. So the sooner the better, but that's still kind of open. I'm hoping I'll have the final results of what our changes are going to be by the February 4th.
Sure, and you kind of touched on this, but maybe you could expand on it. So the way that we're going to let folks know about this, you said, I know you're going to have some meetings with people, get some input, things like that, but the people that are most affected, how will you be?
So we will look for surveys to go out to individuals. So we could do mailings for a mass mailing, but typically we would do operators would hand a passenger when they board the vehicle, hey, take a look at this, fill it out, might be a caption, QR code, that kind of thing they can do with the phone, that we can gather input from them. Our IVR system on our phones, when they choose the access department, you get a prompt that explains to you the access, get one like that. We would put a message in there that effective, potentially by this date, access one of your feedback, or these are the service rule changes. So they'll be notified every time they call in. They're going to hear that recording, and it would direct them to how to submit feedback. Or
We have on the record, so we never go.
Yeah. Yes. We can pull up everybody's current mailing.
Now, what time will they be able to use the app? Will that cut off like at 5?
The app is on all the time. So the app is based on when you go to schedule a ride in the app, you can schedule anything up to 16 hours past the current time. And that, so if I call in at 6 a.m. today and I want to schedule a ride for tomorrow, it won't let me do it yet because it's too early. Okay, so at 8 a.m., be right about that time. With us making these reservation changes, it might even help clean that app up a little bit too, because Echoing, the software has to be configured a certain way so that you can the reservation timeline. If these changes are made, changes could be made to the app, and I'm comfortable with the way the app is.
I'm not going to carry a big bus. We're using the app.
And that'd be great.
Yeah,
because the app has the bus tracker on it. It'll tell you when your bus is coming, monitor the ride. So, yeah. We haven't had a ton of buy-in for the app. We do have folks that do use it. They use it a lot. But just like a lot of our fixed route passengers have apps and they can text their bus stop number and they'll get information. They still like to call. So.
I think that's a good idea. I mean, 6 weeks. So all the way up to, that's wonderful, but have to do it.
Times are changing. We're growing. Yes. Try to make some changes for the greater good group as a whole. So,
and if people have doctor appointments, they need to be on.
just gonna ask this on that thing that. March first is.
I don't think so, but if it is, then we would put it off until April. I mean, we've been doing the best we can and making do with up until now, another 2 months. Not that I want someone to have 2 months with getting late to work, but, but we want to make sure the process is, thorough. Make sure that everybody's had time to write that feedback.
Sure. Different folks. Motion.
Make a motion to change to yes. Yes. Second.
First and second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Very good. Oh. Nature Day.
I've been here since 2006. 20 years.
20 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you. All right, and last item under new business is our 5-year review. Steve, status is first.
So you all have a copy of the hard copy on your place. This is something we started last year. It took a little while to get it going, but it is every January board meeting. We'll have a reviewing the previous year. So I intended for this to just be an internal document, but we had a lot of people that liked seeing what we were doing, see it presented this way. So we ended up 200 copies or something like the last year. But through almost all of it. So it is something that's good for us. I think it allows people to see all of the things that we do over and above just the bus going by with some people in it. There's a lot more to what we than what you see on the street. So I just wanted to point out a few things in it. I'm not going to highlight. I'm not going to read it to you, but the 1.4 million passenger rides is a good accomplishment for us. It's the second year in a row that we are. As Melissa said, we anticipate we will hit the 100,000 paratransit riders mark this year as well. So that service is growing like crazy. Some of the things that we did see, we saw the public space open, the hub, customer service open down there, solar power on our body shop, and technology. We have the ticket vending machines now at the transfer center, and service improvements, north side service changes, a lot more service available now, better service available. Onboard security cameras were replaced. IT infrastructure upgrades happened last year and are happening now, so it's been like a big project. We got new buses. We have new buses coming. So funding for the new 19 buses was last year. Next year we'll have the delivery of those. 8 new paratransit buses in the Spain service. So we were taking some of the buses that would have been replaced, continuing those in service. Financially, we had the state legislation passed that increases the state share of what can get reimbursed for our operating costs. So that was a good accomplishment in the state. We also have our no findings, low risk audit text. So very happy to put that on here as well. And Poly Continue, also probably the most popular thing that we do, no matter what else we do. That is the thing we really love to see. So at all we had, I think, a pretty significant increase in just last year. How to sustain that year. So even with a little bit shorter calendar schedule this year. So that's going well. A lot of community organizations that we're sponsoring or participating in. And then we had the SMTD class that we hosted here. That was a big step for us. Hopefully we can continuing some of the things that I've already talked about with our training, employee recognition letters. And our employees donated $4,500 this year for the charity. So, that's not even required. It's just something a lot of employees step up. So challenges I'm not going to go into because we talk about those all the time. But then some things to look ahead. The walkway should be put in place this year between our building and the other side of the tracks. Our east yard expansion should happen this year. We're looking to acquire land for the secondary hub, which we'll talk about a little bit later. Then website's being redesigned. Eastside night service improvements are on the table. Continued IT work, ridership passenger surveys, and some mental health training. So lots of things going on. That's not everything that we're doing. Those are some of the highlights. I just wanted to point that all out for the board and thank you all for your support in doing all this. We all get buried in the day-to-day stuff that we do here. It's kind of nice to step back and take a look.
Very well done, please. The trustees, all any comments?
For internet, so on your website,
Not yet, but I can do that.
that's very good.
First time. I don't know what the trustees feel, but I mean, it's very well done.
It is.
First thing,
It's
Chamber
amazing
of
you can fit in
Commerce.
one document. Yes.
South View. It's a partnership. Very well done. Very well done.
Certainly.
Yeah, nice work on that, Steve, so we appreciate it. Okay, I think that conducts our new business. We need to go into a closed meeting. So I guess for this time, proceed everybody. So you're welcome back after the closed meeting is completed. Anybody? Okay. So we'll just thank you guys. You're welcome to come back. Appreciate your attendance. Look forward to this year. Stay warm out there. Motion to close the open and open the close, if you could. Everybody pick up.
Make a motion to close this open meeting, for the purpose of testing the fire violation. Well, you establish it as a- Second the motion, this is open.
Okay, we have first and second. Further discussion on moving to the closed meeting? Not a motion has been made to close the regular meeting. Closed meeting. Signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Are you opposed? Very good. The open meeting, January 2nd, 2026 is closed now. That's Welcome back to the January 26, 2026 meeting. Same administrators again. We have one more item, trustees. It's time.
Okay. Based on detailed discussion held during two closed sessions, it was board votes to approve the settlement in order to resolve the pending case in common jack. Benson. 00100, and it's like, as a result of walking
Second, the first and second. Ruben, you offer this, please, Stephanie?
Trustee McCartney?
Yes.
Trustee Castro?
Yes.
Trustee Douglas?
Yes.
Trustee Stratton?
Yes.
Settlement agreement. Is there any additional business between the two board trustees this evening? With hearing none, I'll look for a motion to adjourn. Those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The meeting is adjourned. Thank you. Stay on out there. We'll see you next month. Thank you.